Alright, so this time I got for you the November Power Rankings. I'm going to try to be doing these about monthly. I don't know. We'll see. But thought I'd do a second one, and we'll see how long I last with these. I'm going to start with caveats. Used to have a ton of caveats in my videos. I've tried to reduce them, but this time we're going to begin with them. So I'm recording this the night of the 26th, so technically there is more of November left, and there are some games that could happen that could move someone onto my list who isn't, or maybe change around some of the placings a little. So apologies if this ends up screwing someone over, but obviously this isn't like official or all that meaningful. It's just, some thoughts from me. What am I missing? The end of the monthly Fun GB. That could go a few different ways. Some results from hand tournaments. There's people who have played their Nephilim round 2 matchup. There's people who have not. There's the clan tourney, and there is Tezuka's Halloween hand tourney. But we're covering most things, and we're covering a little bit from October because I made the first power rankings in the middle of October, 1 month after the return, and this one I'm actually publishing at the end of the month. Last time, Turdz took the top slot on the back of his Carver title. He also did really well in the tournaments I was running then, and he dominated, really fantastic showing in the first and most rewarded GB with the most different players in it. So, can he retain the number 1 spot, or will we have a new number 1? Our total list went in order. Turdz, Delial was up, Tezuka, Chickeny, Addy, Doomtrain, Akiyama, Dalamar, and Midas. I think we'll see a lot of repeat names, but we're also going to see a bunch of new names too. So hopefully there will be changeover in these. Some things happen and there's a clear top 10 and they're just always the top 10, but there should be variance month to month and we should have new names. So what else is going on? What's happened? Well, Nephilim has started. It is in the early returns, so it won't be all that important. Obviously, people that are through to round 3 have will, I believe round 3 is an icon. So achieving an icon I value significantly more than a round 1 or round 2 exit, but not everyone's had a chance to play their round 2 game. I really value getting a chance to push for the title, so I'm going to given that it's a 3-way finals, I'm really sort of focused on semifinals and finalists, and we just don't have those yet. So people who get that far will certainly place well in power rankings for a while. But so far, it's not going to be much impact on the record, even though it is the most important thing. And once we have a winner of Nephilim, until another tournament happens, they're going to be locked into very high places for a while, even if their other results are not good. Chat tourneys have morphed into weekly opens. I will still call them CTs as shorthand. They're CTs, opens. GBs are generally closed, though you can play them ? Half open, half closed. There was a month-long huge GB. We've had the SPID reunion. Most of that happened in the time since the last power rank. Clan tournaments have begun. Tezuka's hand tournament has started. Both of these are actually pretty close to finishing. I also put together ELO ratings for all open random results. I think the GB points per game is a very nice measure of performance there. So I didn't do anything additional there, but I thought I would combine all the performances in open randoms, so that includes all the chat tournaments, the open rounds of the SPID reunion, the fun monthly, to get a picture of overall performance that also adjusts for strength of opposition. So if you beat Delial, you win a lot more points than if you beat almost everyone not named Delial, right? And if you lose to Delial, you lose fewer points than you would lose if you lost to someone else. I really like ELO ratings. They do take a bit to stabilize, but I think they're a nice measure, and I'm going to be having those as a nice kind of summation of other things. So let's get to the rankings. Let's talk about my 10 players. So in 10th, we have DJ. Last time he was unranked. I'll say what someone was last time so you can sort of follow a trajectory if you like. Before getting to him, though, I did consider about 5 players for the 10th slot. There were a bunch of people who I thought were kind of close. This happened last time too, but I'm not allowed to give honorable mentions. So, because I decided I wouldn't, because if I would, I knew it might just go forever, so I had to pick a cutoff to give myself. So I'm only going to pick one, and one of the things that I noticed was some of the people I considered were doing well in tournaments that aren't over yet. And so I wanted to let those finish, and maybe they'll get credit for it next month. Maybe they still won't make it next month, but that was one way where DJ achieved something specific this month that I could give credit to. He's put up solid numbers in the monthly. He made it to round 3 of Nephilim, so he's still in. He's going to be earning an icon there. But the thing that got him on the list here was the record-setting run in GB9. It's his only tournament win and his only top 4 this month, but it was so good, I thought it clearly got the spot. I did sort of fake an honorable mention here because Crescent had tied the record with 5.8 points per game in a GB, and DJ has set the new record, breaking Crescent and Akiyama's record of 5.8 with 5.9. And we have the question of, is someone going to be able to break 6 in the near future? It's definitely going to happen sometime, just like the law of averages. But I wonder how soon it's going to happen. I think 5.9 will be the record for at least another 3 or 4 GBs. That's my guess. And nice to set the record, and earned himself the 10th spot on my rankings. In 9th, we have Midas, who has moved up 1 slot. I think his win in round 1 of Nephilim is one I'm giving extra credit for, because Slash of Time was clearly one of the tougher matchups. This was one of the best matchups of round 1, and he won it really convincingly. My solver has some quibbles with his third move, but I think he played really well. He also had a finals and a semis in CTs, losing both times to Akiyama, who will place highly, and he won a difficult CVC match against Doomtrain. I think both this month and last month, he didn't play all that much. He played a few events, but he reliably has done really well in the events he's done, and you do wonder if he played more, if he could get a really high placing on these lists. And I suspect he could, though he could also have a bad run and, not place. We all can have swings. But I think he ends up earning 9th, having no titles this month, but 2 deep runs, beating some good opposition, only losing to really strong opposition. Clearly just very good player. We move on to 8th, Yevon, last time unranked. So Yevon's interesting because in a bunch of ways he did not have good showings this month. He hasn't made it to a semifinal in a single chat tournament. He hasn't played a lot, but he hasn't made it there. He lost in round 1 of Nephilim. He lost in round 1 of the Halloween Hand tournament. He didn't lose in round 1 of the Clan tournament, but he did get a bye, and he did lose in round 2. Now, admittedly, that's Piggy twice, that's Violva once. This is very tough opposition, but a lot of the resume doesn't look strong until you reach the monthly open, where he has gone crazy good. He's played a ton of the tough opponents. He hasn't played me yet, but he's played a lot of the others. He has 17 games unbeaten. He has 11 wins to 6 losses. This is an absurdly good record. He's been really untouchable. He's been crushing people, and he's currently in 2nd, but depending on how something works, could move into 1st if a certain game is discounted, and also might just be favorite to take it down. I'm the person who's there with him, but I'm going to be busy the last few days. That's why I'm recording it now. I don't know how much time I'll have to compete. Might have some Monday. Anyways, doesn't matter. But there's a very good chance he just wins it, and wins it with a just unbelievable score, where it might look kind of silly to only have him in 8th, because this is a huge event with a lot more games, and he is unbeaten through 17. He is playing fantastic. He is crushing a lot of really good players. He's very good wins in this run. You can go look at Turdz' spreadsheet and just see how tremendous he's been. He's much more likely to win than fall to 3rd. Yeah, wow. Great run by Yevon. This is one of the single most impressive achievements on the list. And the supporting case is weak, which is why I couldn't get him higher. But man, 8th might be too low. In 7th, we have Tezuka. He drops to 7th from 4th. But fundamentally, he's playing great. In events where, non-random events, he's just been undefeated. He's in the top 3 in his Halloween Hand tournament. He's the top 4 in the Clan tournament. He has a very important game against Akiyama in that. And if he advances from there, I'll probably feel I placed him too low here. If he doesn't, then this feels about right to me, depending on if you think Yevon should be even higher. He's also in round 3 of Nephilim. So in hand events, he's just undefeated in all the ones he's played. He also got a top 4 in a chat tournament. In my open random ELO rankings, he's currently ranked 5th on the site. So even though he doesn't have as much success from the randoms as the hand tournaments in this month, he's still rated very highly for his overall showings. He's currently in 6th of the monthly, but he's on pace for 3rd. There's a very strong top 6, and all of them are in my top 10. They're all playing great. Tezuka is currently in 6th of that group, but could easily move up. As said, he's on pace for 3rd. He's just one of the best players going, and not super active, time zones, other stuff. But the events he's playing great. And, you know, he easily could end up winning, like, all 3 of these hand tournaments. And if he does so, you know, he's going to have a tremendous ranking. Though he's got some very tough opposition to beat. In 6th, we have Turdz. And Turdz was my first place last time, and I strongly believe Turdz was the correct first choice. He will tell you that he doesn't deserve 6th, that he's played badly this month. And I think he's just wrong. He may have played badly by his, you know, high standards. And losing in the first round of Nephilim really hurts. But aside that, he came 2nd in the Spid Reunion, so a finals of probably the 2nd biggest event behind Nephilim and the biggest that's been completed. And certainly the biggest that finished this month. The next biggest is probably the GB he won the month before, or Carver that he won the month before. So he's certainly doing well in the stuff that matters, even if one of them he went out in the first round. He also came 2nd in GB7, 3rd in GB9. He was top 4 in CT9. So that's 4 top 4s. In the larger sample of the Open Monthly, he's 4th. He's on pace to finish 4th. He's been one of the best trade players. A lot of trade accounts have been kind of wiped out. And he's one who's been just profiting. He had one bad day, so he'll point to that, but he's doing awesome. He doesn't have any titles this month, but 4 top 4s is really good across these events. Tezuka had 3 top 4s. Turdz had more, and he had the 2nd places. But Tezuka may end up turning some of those top 4s into 2nd places or better, so it was hard to compare. Overall, I decided to differentiate by Turdz's results all finish this month. Tezuka's will finish next month mostly. And so I can give credit again for them next month, but this is the only month I'll be able to give full credit to these Turdz events. And also, I think just from October, from October, he came in as the first place, right? And I am going to give some credit to past results. And Turdz having such a good October led me to inching him ahead here. I'll also say I could have easily had Turdz and Tezuka 5th and 6th. The person I had 5th, you could have, I think, anywhere from 5th to 7th. And we have Zoom. So he was unranked last time. I've been doing some videos about his closed play. I think he's just such an impressive closed player. And he showed it this month. He played his first GBs and ended up coming 4th in his first GB and then winning the next 2. To become the 2nd player to ever win 2 in a row. But it was also, and the 2nd player to win 2 at all. But it was also that he'd only played 3 GBs, and he got top 4 in all of them. I think that's a feat only matched by Deli in his first 3 GBs, and I'm not even sure. Deli might have had a 5th in there, not sure. And also he won 2 of them. And he leads the leaderboard for most points per game in a GB. He's also got some open results. He won his first match in Nephilim against a strong opponent. And just really a great month for Zoom. And I think you could go either way on him, kind of versus Turdz and Tezuka, depending on how you value closed and how you value spreading out results versus dominating a specific format. But man, did he dominate this format. And GBs are big samples. I think this is very impressive. Really deserving of a 5th place here with the 2 GB wins. So we get to the top 4, and I do think the top 4 were pretty set in stone. I moved some people around lists, I debated, I looked at my order, and I looked at the results, and I moved people around, and you certainly could look at this and not be at all convinced by my order and think I got this wrong. But I think the top 4 were pretty locked. The only way I was ever not having this as my top 4 is if I gave a lot of credit to Turdz for the prior months. And I decided to give a bit, but not that much. And so we ended up, I think, with a very clear top 4. So in 4th, dropping from 2nd, but still top 4, we have Delial, who is, of course, the best. I'll say every player that won an open event made my top 4. So this might be overvaluing open, but I think as you see their resumes, you'll see they did really well in a lot of different things. Deli won CT6, beating me in the finals, and beating me again in CT8 in the semis, where he made the finals. So that's a win, 2 top 2s. He also got top 4 in 4 different GBs since the last power rankings. Just everyone he's a contender. No one else got 4 top 4s. And so this is 4 top 4 GBs, 3 top 4 CTs. He's playing great. You look at his games, he plays great. He's still in Nephilim, won against a strong opponent in a winner, Demonic, in the first round. Just 1 loss in the monthly, where he may end up 5th or 6th, but he may end up, winning or in the top 3 or 4. But even if he lands 6th, it's because 6 players all had great showings and will perform similarly. And, whichever place you land is somewhat random, and only 1 loss speaks to the fact that it's a great run there. So he didn't quite get the tourney wins to get any higher on the list, right? He only has the 1 victory in CT6, but so many deep runs in both open and closed. This is... Maybe the top 4 wasn't locked. Maybe there's an argument for Deli 3rd. I didn't think so when doing it. Looking at it now, it looks so good, doesn't it? Alright, but I do think my top 4 were clear top 4, the clear most successful players of the month, and I have Delial 4th. I had me 3rd, following up on my 3rd place of the first month, so I'm a 3rd placer, and we'll see if I can come 3rd in Nephilim. But I was some distance off the top 2, but I think I'm pretty clear 3. I led the monthly, or I'm leading the monthly as of now. I don't know if I'll win it. I don't know if I'll have time to close out, and also Yevon is making a crazy run, but I am undefeated with over twice as many wins as losses. I have 12 wins and wins as ties, 12 wins, 5 ties, no losses. I've won a chat tournament, and I've finaled the other another chat tournament, and semi-finaled the 3rd chat tournament. So that's a bunch of top 4s, including a win. I finished in the semis in the SPID reunion. I'm in round 3 of Nephilim, though I did get a bye in the first round. I also have the top rating by my open elo. Akiyama could have passed me had he beat me in the last chat tournament finals, but I did win that one, and now have a fairly sizable lead. So overall, best open random performances. The big downer is 2 downers. One is that Delial has done really well in the head-to-head against me. He's beaten me in 2 chat tournaments now. I have no chat tournament wins against Deli. I do have the clear highest overall win rate there, thus the highest rating. But Delial has the head-to-head against me, and I only played 2 GBs, and 1 I stopped playing pretty quick, and both I was average or worse. And so I think the poor closed showings bring me down a good bit, and could for you drop me into 4th. I think the really strong open showings, despite the losses to Deli, having one of the best overall resumes in chat tournaments, despite only playing 3, the great open monthly run, where even if I don't win, I'm very proud of this run. 12 wins, 5 ties, where I'm plus 12, and the 3rd through 6th group is all kind of 6 or 7 wins more than losses, and I'm 12 more wins. I think that's a pretty big gap there, and enough. You can see it in the elo. I didn't actually give the elo ratings, but it's pretty big. So I think I earned 3rd, but I could certainly be booted down to 4th quite reasonably. But we've got our top 2, and I think these were just very clearly the top 2. I think these are definitely the 2 best players of the month. I think they've both been playing fantastically, and you could order them either way. It depends what you value. I thought a bit about it. I was leaning one direction, and I ended up sticking with that direction, so no drama there. But could have really gone either of 2 ways here. There's a very good case for both. And so we are going to start with 2nd placer, Akiyama. Or, as I am planning to refer to him, Hakiyama, because that's what the subtitles if you turn them on these videos, I think will tell you his name is. So last time he was 8th, he has rocketed up to 2nd. I think looking at his open games and having the computer evaluate them, his first month was pretty messy in open. He lost more games than he won, though he was playing very tough opposition. You know, a lot of them are against Delial and other very good players. But this month went very different. He's still playing fast, but it's so much more precise. And yeah, it's just a real big jump in level of play. I think a bunch of people, the jump happened that they happened to have some good results, but the play was kind of similar. And with Akiyama, I think he's just playing a lot better at Triple Triad this month and rockets up to 2nd very deservedly. So he barely lost any open games, and if you want the person who won the most things in November and late October, it's Akiyama. He became the first player to win 2 GBs, and he won them back-to-back, so was the first to, of course, do them back-to-back. He became the first player to win 2 CTs, and he won them back-to-back, and he finaled the next one after that, too. In my open random ELO ratings, he rocketed into 2nd place, having been sort of middle of the pack, and he almost snagged first, which, to go from middle of the pack to almost grabbing first, is of course much harder than going from quite high to grabbing first. He's in the final 4 of the clan tournament, facing Tezuka, and then if he wins that, he'll be facing another top player. He's in the final 3 of the Tez Halloween hand tournament, also with Tezuka, and I think the same other player. Certain set of 3 players, Akiyama, Tezuka, and one other who will soon be named, have been just crushing the hand tournaments. He's in Nephilim. I didn't update the writing there, but he did make it into round 3 today, after a tough match against Fish, who knocked out Turdz. Very hard rule set to win in Nephilim. My video recapping round 2 of Nephilim, how to say this? I think the rule set is a very bad rule set, and I would like to go into reasons for that, but I also want it to be clear that, you know, some rule sets are going to be bad rule sets, and figuring out how to adapt to that, and not just adapting to rule sets that aren't your cup of tea, but adapting to rule sets that are actively bad, I think is important. I think one of the reasons it's really bad is because there are very few tools to adapt to it with, but I'll get into it there and talk about why it doesn't work, why I don't think it works, and kind of what makes rule sets like it work versus not work. Because I think the first round rule set, which was in many ways very similar, did work, and I think the second round rule set does not. And the difference there, what makes that the case, I think is quite interesting. So hopefully it's more something interesting to talk about than me just being negative. Also, though, I wrote most of that before seeing any of the games, and my opinion of the rule set, having seen some of the games played on it, is higher than it was, though I still think it is a bad rule set, but less disastrous than I thought it was. Anyway, shouldn't get distracted on that. We're celebrating Akiyama's run. He also went 16 games unbeaten in the monthly Open GB, will likely finish between 3rd and 6th, but great showing there, is one of those big 6. Really, the only downside is, like, he lost to General in a CVC. He does have a few open losses, but not many. And the reason our first placer places ahead of him is because he basically just went undefeated for a month. But Akiyama won a ton of events. That's, 2 CTs, 2 GBs, maybe soon to follow with the clan tournament or with the Tez Halloween hand tournament or with Nephilim. Probably not going to win the monthly Open GB, but we can't even rule that out. He's just won so many events this month. And if we think of players like Turdz or Tezuka, who were really good this month, they had kind of 3 or 4 top 4s. And with Akiyama, he has 4 events won. And I'm not counting his top 4s. He has at least 1 other finals. He has at least 1 more top 4. And probably maybe getting another in the Open GB, and that's a bigger top 4. Yeah, he crushed every event, played really good Triple Triad, and it took a truly remarkable month for someone to finish ahead of him. Which leads us to our player of the month, who I think was just spectacular. Last time, Piggyman was unranked, but he was my highlighted player. I talked about how difficult he was to beat, but how he had been quite unclinical, and thus wasn't getting wins despite having advantages in basically every game he played. And this month that changed. I didn't record a single loss for him in undefeated play, whether random or non-random. Going from every game he had the advantage, so he was never really losing, but he was also not winning. He started just winning all those games and just racking up wins. There are some ties, but there are like no losses, very few ties, and a lot of wins. He won the biggest prize fund we've seen, beating out Turdz' win of the first GB with winning the Spud Reunion tournament. He's currently in the finals of the clan tournament. For others, I've said top 4 for Tezuka and Akiyama, but Piggyman has already played his semifinals and he beat Sir Smokes. He's in the final 3 of Tezuka's Halloween hand tournament. So Tezuka, Piggyman, and Akiyama are the final 3 people in both the clan tournament and the Halloween hand tournament. Though they cannot end up as the top 3 in Nephilim because Piggyman and Tezuka will meet before that happens. I think they can meet in the semifinals, though of course other players can get in the way of that. Has he beaten good opposition? He certainly has. I lost to him, Turdz lost to him, Yevon lost to him, Vialva lost to him, a bunch of people on this list. Did anyone beat him? No. I think he's just undefeated for the month in open play. And the only possible complaint is that he didn't compete in that much. You know, he's in the Spud Reunion, he's in a few of these hand tournaments, 3 of them. And so you could argue, you know, he hasn't played any of the chat tournaments, he only played the one random event, he hasn't played any GBs. But I thought just he won everything, and he did it against really good players. And I think the way he's playing, you know, despite the fact that Tezuka and Akiyama are really good, he can't be favorite to win both the clan tournament and the Halloween hand tournament, right? The odds of him winning both can't be that high because that's just a really, really hard thing to do. But I think, the favorite in both events. I think he might be the favorite in every event he's in, which I don't know if he'll want me to say because, you know, a lot of people's kind of personal way of thinking, if you're the favorite, it becomes harder to compete. So, you know, the favorites are the big names. It's not, you know, Piggyman is not one of the biggest names. He's a very big name. But I just want to credit that I think he has played a higher level of Triple Triad this month than any other player, including Akiyama, including myself, including Delial. I think Piggy has just played fantastic Triple Triad. And it was so notable looking at his games in the first month, just how often he was getting advantages, whether it be hand games or whether it be randoms. That just so early in the game, it was clearly the opponent that was being posed problems to solve. And sometimes they were solving those problems, and sometimes when they weren't, he wasn't finishing them off. But this month, he just kept getting advantages in all those games. It would certainly be worth studying his early game play, because I think, especially the early game, he is playing better than anyone else is right now. And now that he's closing out wins and also continuing to save tough positions, that just means I think he played, not just by a little, but by a clear margin, the best Triple Triad anyone played this month. And just fantastic performance. There's only the one complaint, is that he didn't play all that much. If you want to credit the fact that Akiyama won 4 events and Piggy won 1, though he has a chance to win some more, then you could certainly move Akiyama ahead of him. That would be a very reasonable thing to do. But I was drawn to the person who I think just played the best. And I think Piggy was the best player. And I think this run is the best run of open play we've seen in the return so far. You know, and you have to say so far because, you know, a lot of great players are around and going to keep playing well. But so impressed by his play. Thought it was just great to watch, and just so continually finding... I keep harping on this, but continually finding advantage out of those first moves. How long have I been droning on? Almost 30 minutes. Alright, so we should close this out. See you next time. The next video of this type will be the end of the year, I think. I don't know if the site's going to have end of year voting. If it does, I want to do a video congratulating the winners. If it doesn't, I'll probably hand out my own prizes. Not that there's any prize to it. And also to say there's some names out there. There's a bunch of names who have played good but not quite made any of the lists. There's a bunch of players who, you know, certainly could have a good month. I think basically anyone playing right now, if they have a nice run, can make the list. And I'm curious to see if anyone can hold on to a top spot. Can Piggy maintain this just tremendous level of play? Will we see, Akiyama just keep winning everything? And we have people like Fusion Cloud, also known as Kazdan, has appeared. And he immediately put up 2 top 4s in GBs. And I played him in the first round of a chat tournament, and I think he's playing well in open as well. So I certainly would be afraid of him showing up on one of these lists. And also, Seto is playing Nephilim, and Seto is just one of the game changers of Triple Triad. So that I'm really excited for, especially because he's in Delial's bracket. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. I think Delial vs. Seto is the best rivalry in Triple Triad history. I think there's some other really good ones. I think the Polish brothers against each other is very funny. I think myself vs. Yojimbo is up there. I think there's a bunch with Delial that aren't Seto. I think there's a bunch with Kana. Slash of Time has a bunch of good rivalries. Him versus Yojimbo, him versus Deli, him versus a bunch of people. There's a whole lot of good rivalries. Yojimbo versus Akiyama is good. I have good ones with both the Polish brothers. Great Sephiroth has ones with me and Yojimbo. There's a whole bunch of matchups that are great players that have happened, 3 or 4 times or more. Delial Turdz is another great one. But for my money, Delial Seto is the best Triple Triad rivalry. And seeing them in the same bracket is just tantalizing. And can't get ahead of ourselves because tournament win rates are never as high as you sort of think they are. And it's so easy to drop a game or not have a rule set click and not get, favorites don't advance near as much as people think. But I'm excited. I'm hopeful. And I also think, Piggyman, Tezuka, and Metis are all in the same bracket. And well, of course, again, there's a very good chance some player comes along and plays great and upsets them. That has a bunch of exciting matchups ready to come. And also, I have a date with Akiyama in the 3rd round. That's another really good one. There's some others. I'm blanking at the moment, but there's a whole bunch of really exciting matchups coming up in Nephilim. And we'll see how those go. But I kind of hope there is end of year voting. I don't know if there's enough kind of activity or different things to support it, but I always really enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it. I liked basically just voting for Deli for Open Player of the Year every year and plan to do so again. But maybe I'll vote for Piggy this time. And yeah, I guess we'll call that a power ranking. Let me know if you think I got something wrong, though let's try and stay positive. So frame it as like, wow, you robbed so-and-so, so we can feel good about them. Rather than like, you have Deli 4th, but he sucks. Because, then people feel bad. Not that this has happened at all, so I probably don't need to give this let's just end the video. Cheers.